I can't really hear what Jeremy says because I got my 2 Stanley Cup rings plugged in my ear.
Say what?
Have you ever fought before? You were probably beat up in the bus stop. Just go stand somewhere else.
Say what?
I've never seen a bunch of defensemen soft like this.
Say what?
I wonder what would happen if we did it to their 2 whining stars over there. I wonder what would happen.
Say what?
The time is nigh.
Say what?
Say
what?
Yes, I'm glad we have the bump.
We got to get Bruce on.
I got to do a say what.
Say what? I tried. You can try it. It'll say what?
We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll say what? I can't do the high. I have to do it quietly. But anyways, we had a few of these. Most of them all come from the same series.
Do the high.
Most all come from the same series. It came from the Dallas Edmonton series, and we got this first one we're going to take a look at.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's always things you can do better. You know, I'm not, you know, you can sit here and question our character if you want. You haven't been around all year. I haven't seen you here all year. So, yeah, well, you are. That's what you're doing. So, you know, I'm not going to do it. You know, you go ahead and write whatever the you want.
With that being said.
Say what?
That way, Bruce. I have heard that Pete DeBoer did go and sought out that, you know, said sorry
Tim
about that.
Cowlishaw.
Just, you know, in that moment, yeah. So it, but you know, I don't know. When I heard that, I was like, I like it from this degree, and we've seen it in the playoffs with coaches this year. But sometimes you just need to show your teammate or your 100%. Team that you got their back, right?
Yeah.
Is that what that was?
And that's what Pete was doing. You know, don't question our character. We're a great bunch of great group, and you saw the sign that when you go into the Dallas lineup about roles and everything else and ice time. And I mean, he gets mad, as we all do. We protect our, you know, when you're coaches, you protect your kids, and that's what he was doing. I thought it was a great move by him.
Yeah,
I think it's a moment where he could obviously, defend his players, but it's more so just like he was not happy with the situation. I think he was, you know, we talk a lot about Paul Maurice in the postseason, what he's doing. His back hasn't really been up against it.
Right.
In terms of where his team is at a series. They've had full control. Even when they've lost games, they've played really well. And I think Dallas, up until that point, had played really well.
Really good.
And they were starting to slip away. So there's a part of that where you don't want it to slip away. There's a lot of emotion involved in this game for good reason. I think it's the best part of the game, the emotion that's attached to it. But like Tim Cowlishaw's on, I think he's on, you know, ESPN shows and stuff that we watch. And I've watched him for years on those shows. I think he's been great. And he does talk about the stars. But the fact that he's not around that much, he could kind of, DeBoer can go after him and pick his target and give it to him.
You know, and that's the thing, too, is when, you know, when you're struggling a little bit as a player, you start kind of second-guessing, and maybe you just need something like this, right? Like, you need in that moment just the coach to be like, even if it's not, you could ask what the weather is like and be like, oh, you challenging us?
Yeah, I love it.
No, I believe in these guys or whatever.
And sometimes coaches go in there
looking for it
so they can defend their guys. Yeah.
All right, we got another one here. This is, we're going to be talking about some Canada's team here, Edmonton Oilers.
No. You know, there's going to be pressure playing in the Stanley Cup final, no matter where your team's from. So, obviously, we're a Canadian team. We got great Canadian fans, and it feels good to maybe unite the country a little bit and have something to bring people together. You know, that's what sports is all about, is bringing people together, and you know, hopefully we're doing that for Canadians across the country.
That's nice.
Any additional pressure knowing you're Canada's team now?
Well, I don't know if Toronto's cheering for us, but, but it's nice to hear Ottawa is.
Bruce, you're a Toronto guy. Is Toronto rooting for the Edmonton Oilers, you think?
Not if you're a Leaf. I mean, there's fans in Toronto are hoping that the cup comes to Canada, but soon as that's done, it's all local. Like, I mean, there's no such thing as Canada's team right now with the Edmonton Oilers, other than the fact that they're playing in the finals and they're in Canada.
Canada's team is the Blue Jays and the Raptors. Yeah. If you're a Canadian team or a fan of another Canadian team, I feel like if it's going to come back for the first time since 1993, it better be our club that brings it back, right? But I will say this, Connor McDavid's spot on, because if you watch the national anthem in Edmonton.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Oh, Canada in Edmonton is appointment television. And that crowd singing that song with that much passion is so awesome to see.
Hey, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. We know that there's great fans in Edmonton have been hungry for it for a long time, right? To kind of get back here with a team like this. When that game ended, I was sitting on my couch. I had chills watching the fans there. Like it was. Listen, so I'm not saying it was better than any of them in recent years, but it's almost I could feel. You could almost feel the relief. You know, the one guy was in tears, crying with his forehead on the glass. I'm like, you know, and we can sit there and laugh at that, whatever. But like, that's the whole point in this. The Canadian markets, like, they live for this stuff, right? And I loved seeing that.
When they were doing the press conferences, even 40 minutes after the game, you could hear the crowd in the background going, "We want the cup, we want." Like, they weren't leaving. This was something that they'd been, like, I mean, a lot of Canadians, they just wait for this to happen, which is why, being a Toronto boy, I keep saying, whoever wins the cup, whoever's the coach of the Maple Leafs when they win the cup, he's got the key to the world right there. Yeah.
Right? What about, like, I've heard so many reporters, and we were in Vegas last year for the Cup Finals, and that was a loud building, but it didn't sound like there was any extra noise going on. It just was all fan noise, and you know, there was listening to Elliot Friedman and Jeff Merrick today, and they were just they couldn't hear anything. Yeah. In interviews, they're getting close together. Watching Jackie Redmond do an interview, and
Zach Hyman,
I can't hear a word you're saying. They were inches apart. It was. Yeah, it's the
cool.
passion that they have is so awesome. As someone who also we share that, we all share that passion in here. But for a whole fan base like that, and more people who are outside and in the Moss Pit and all these places, it's really cool to showcase that. Yeah, I can't wait to see what they bring in the finals. There's going to be some news coming up here. Was that Joe Pavelski's last game? We don't know where things are at, but some of his Dallas Stars teammates had a few things to say about it.
Not ask about Joe. Yeah, I mean, he's since day one since he's been in here, he's meant everything to our group. You know, on the ice, off the ice, all our golf games. He's improved all those. You know, just an amazing person to have in here.
All-time teammate, person, great leader. Good friend. Yeah, I mean, a lot. Yeah, I can't thank him and his family enough for what they've done for me.
Say what? Wow. That was pretty raw stuff right after the game, talking about Pavs there.
I thought it was unfair of the reporters asking that question myself, but you could tell the love that the players have for him. And that was really telling. I mean, if I'm a GM, just listening to that, I'm going, I can't let him retire now. Like, I got to have him have a year just to say goodbye. Like, I mean, if he's has that effect on those players, man, that was pretty special, I thought.
I think you want to be a good teammate, and if someone ever said, hey, I saw this guy, and he said you were a great teammate, that would be a great compliment, a better compliment to me than, oh, you were such a great player in this playoff run, or you did that. Like, you want to be a great teammate. It just says so much about you. Watching that's an incredible endorsement for the character that he has. But, I mean, I think he's 24 goals away from 500.
Come on, Pavs. Let's go. Let's go.
Some more deflection.
Hey, you know what? And this team is going to be a good team. I mean, listen, he's got his family and all those different things, but we don't want to see him done playing. His teammates don't either.
I think he's a great player. I mean, when he was with San Jose especially, played against him an awful lot. And, like, I mean, Pete DeBoer said it best. He said he had 5 shots on net tonight. He came to play. And, I mean, you know, those are the things you look at. And it's not his skating. He hasn't been able to skate since he's been 23. So he's just kept doing this.
I'm glad you brought that up, though. You know, he's turning 40 July 11th, right? So he's almost 40 years old. But that's the thing with Pavs. He was never a good skater. And I don't mean it like, you know, whatever. I can say that because he's in my opinion, he's a Hall of Fame.
That was where I was kind of going.
He's in that conversation there. So I can make fun of his skating because he's a great, great player. He wasn't a great skater. You know, 5 years ago or however long that was when he left San Jose, it was like, whoa, you gave him that? And then Dallas re-ups again. Oh, you gave him that? That's going to go bad. That contract's not going to be worth it, not going to be good. They signed him again. You know what I mean? Like, he's been lights out, and you can tell from everybody, and like you said, everybody you talk to in the business.
Hall of Famer,
he's
though?
A good one.
I mean, national champion, 1,300 games. He's over 1,000 points. I don't know what his playoff points are. If
that 500 goal.
He's got a medal.
You said 500, right? Yep. That 500 goal threshold.
International
would
play.
Really help.
1,300 games is quite special. I mean, we all talk about 1,000, but I mean, you start getting into 11, 12, 13. That's saying something special about him.
Yeah.